Hi everyone, and welcome to another rendition of Zenfolio Live. I'm sure you're wondering why my face is in the corner of your screen today, but it is actually because Robert had to go to the dentist today unexpectedly. Looking at the chat, it looks like he's sending us well wishes from the dentist office. So I think Cheryl's right. The most dedicated viewer award definitely goes to Robert at the dentist office. But I will be here today. My name is Kayla. I'm also a member of the customer support team at Zenfolio. And taking over for Robert is certainly not an easy job, so I apologize for being a little bit late today. But definitely want to help you guys draw attention to your public galleries. This is what Robert was planning on talking about, and I definitely want to help out with this too. So let's get started. One of the most important things you can do with your Zenfolio account, in my opinion, is just to have really good SEO. You know, it's how people are going to find you. It's how people are going to, I guess, go about like just locating you. It can be by your location. It can be by your business name. Lots of different things. So today we're going to talk specifically about how to get people to look at your public galleries, not necessarily just your home page. So we're going to make your gallery a magnet for visitors. And one of the best practices for SEO in your galleries in Zenfolio has to do with the title of your galleries. So let's go into the actual photos section here. And I've created a portfolio group here. Let me pull this over. And in this portfolio group, I have actually done a couple things. Okay, perfect. So you'll see I have 4 galleries here. And you'll see in the portfolio gallery, I don't just have them labeled with portraits, but instead it says Raleigh, North Carolina portrait photography. I've done this for all of these just to include a location as well. And having your location listed in these titles is going to help a ton. If you stop and think about it, when someone goes to Google to look for a photographer or even sample images, they're going to look for a location with it because, you know, they're not trying to hire me if I'm on the other side of the country from them. They're going to search Raleigh, North Carolina portrait photography, Raleigh, North Carolina portrait photographer. So including that in your actual gallery names can be super helpful. And if someone's just kind of scrolling through your website who's familiar with your work, it's still not going to be that weird. They're going to say like, oh yeah, they're in Raleigh, North Carolina doing portrait photography. So it makes sense to do that in my opinion. And aside from that, if you take a look at the actual gallery details, I'm just going to go into the landscape one here. The gallery details can be super beneficial as well to play around with. They're a great way to enhance your SEO too. So adding a gallery caption is going to be really beneficial because it's just more text on the page and it's more words for Google to pick up on. So you'll see here that I added a little caption. It's just a little statement so that if someone comes along and finds my gallery, they have a little bit of information about me and they'll know what area I'm in, where I shot these, things like that. Those kind of like keywords that stick out. Now, with this, you'll also want to make sure that that caption is going to show on the gallery because sometimes by default, depending on which preset you selected, it will not show in the gallery. So let's go into customize view super quick and just make sure that that caption is going to be showing. Because if it's not, you know, search engines have gotten really advanced and now they may not necessarily pick up on things that are hidden even if they exist in the background. So you'll see that mine does show here. I have this set up in the options on the page elements tab. You'll see that the caption is set to show. So if yours is set to hide, you will want to make sure that is set to show and make sure you apply and publish your settings. And we'll come back to this and look at some other options in just a moment too. But for now, let's go back to the photo section again. So we've already talked about the title and caption, but we'll also want to talk about the keywords. If you have any phrases you want to include, you'll want to make sure the phrase is in quotation marks. So like for North Carolina, without these quotation marks, it will break up into North and then Carolina, which isn't necessarily terrible. It's still got the keyword there, but phrases like this can be grouped together with quotation marks. So that's something important to note. And anything else can just be separated with the comma in general. So North Carolina, then landmarks, then landscape, monuments, places, Raleigh. And beyond that, there is also a categories area. So you can actually go in and choose which category your images fall into. And this will communicate some additional information to search engines like Google as well. So you'll want to choose the actual category and then a subcategory. Sometimes there are multiple ones even beyond that, but just for my purposes, I've got both of these here. And then you'll want to make sure you save. Okay. So next, we'll want to go into the gallery itself and look at the individual images too. So I've gone on to each individual image and also done the same thing. So you'll see that here. Now you'll want to make sure that all of the images aren't done in the exact same way, because Google will want to, they'll pick up on the fact that everything is super similar. So you definitely want to avoid that. It's okay if some things kind of overlap a little bit. So like with these two, I shot both of these in North Carolina. So with this, it's okay if both of them say like Raleigh, North Carolina in the title, caption, and keyword. But for the most part, you'll want to differentiate them as much as possible. And it's okay if their category and subcategory are the same. Most of these are probably going to fall in the same sort of area. But you want to make it as unique as possible. And with that, we do have a really awesome tutorial available on adding gallery details and individual photo captions. So if I can get Cheryl to throw that link out in the chat for us, and if you're watching at a later date, the link should be in the video description below. That can be super helpful, and it'll go into a lot more detail than what I'm going into here. So now there are some other things you'll want to take a look at in this area before we get into the actual gallery customization. So over on the right, underneath of the gallery details, we will see gallery access. And in this area, you will want to make sure the gallery is, of course, set to public, because we want everyone to be able to find this, access it, see the photos, not hide anything from Google or visitors in general who are trying to find you. If you set it to private, only you will be able to see it, and locked with the password will require them to know the password to get into it. So those things can be more useful when you're trying to show something to only a client, but it's good to have these set to public when we're trying to get some serious SEO done. And the other area you'll want to check out is the search and metadata area. And this will be super important, because if this is set to not include photos and videos in search results, it will not be indexed by Google at all. So you'll want to make sure it's set to allow content to be publicly searchable. The middle setting is so that it will only show up on your website and Google won't be indexing, so that top one is going to be very, very important. And beyond that, there are some other settings here you want to check out, but that one's definitely the most important one. Okay, so now let's look at gallery customization. If you look here, you'll see that I have the gallery set up so that the titles are always showing, and that a buy button and social icons appear when you hover over it. This is controlled in the options area on the thumbnails tab. I have this set so that the title is showing below the mat. It is possible to do it on hover, but I want to make sure that my visitors and Google, other search engines can actually find this without having that hover tool, because sometimes it'll consider it hidden in that case. So I do have it set so that the title is always showing, but the buy button and social icons only come up on hover. All right. So also down in the bottom right corner, you'll see that I have the categories and keywords here. This is what we added before. Even though this can be toggled on and off, Google and other search engines will actually see this regardless of that, since it is kind of like on the page, and it's written into the code for the page itself. So even though it's collapsible, it can be read. And you'll want to make sure all of this information is available for customers and search engines can find it. It used to be that back in the day, you could just stuff the images with tons of keywords and hide it from visitors. and it would still work just fine. But now search engines have gotten a lot smarter and know that if something is hidden, it shouldn't be picked up on. So all the keywords that I have on these individual images are going to show in other pages, and it'll work out just fine. So let's take a look at those other pages actually. I do have a price list assigned to this gallery, so it won't really affect the gallery photos page if you have a price list assigned, but I'll show it to you anyway in case you don't. But in this area, we're going to want to make sure that a couple other bits of information are showing, again with the title and keyword. But there are also some other options available to you on this page that aren't on the other. Again, we can set categories and keywords to show. On this particular layout, it's not possible, but you can include EXIF information if you're interested. That can certainly help. And date taken, date uploaded, things like that. You know, you can include a lot of information on this page just to make sure that your visitors and search engines know it is relevant, new work. And then on the gallery Quickshot page, this is the page that will show if you do have a price list assigned. You'll want to make sure that everything's showing on this page as well properly. So let's take a look here. Oh, it's going to give me some problems. Let's see. Well, just kidding. There we go. So on this page, I do have the title and caption showing again. This is controlled in the Quickshot tab in the options. And if you want, you can also allow commenting, which again is just more text on the page if your users want to come in and comment on that. And I might show the categories and keywords here again too. And another important thing on all of these pages is allowing sharing. If someone finds your image is interesting and really cool, they might want to share them on social media, and that's definitely not going to hurt anything. It can only gain you more followers, more visitors to your page. So I would make sure that you do have sharing allowed on all of these pages, your Quickshot page, photos page, and thumbnails page. So I'll show you what those categories look like on this page too. Okay, so now my keywords are going to show here, and it's going to show the category. I can click show more to actually like get into the details of it, but it can be kind of toggled to not show all the way. You can also hide things like that to make sure your image is still showing quite largely. So we've made sure that it's not going to get in the way of anything. And after you've done all of this, I would recommend saving your changes as the default settings for your galleries, groups, whatever. Go into the gallery Quickshot page, save it as the default. Go into the thumbnails page, save it as the default. That way you know that your keywords, captions, all of that relevant information is going to be showing to search engines. All right, and whenever you're done, you'll just want to publish, and you should be all set to have users start coming into your galleries themselves. There are some extra things you can do that I definitely want to go over here though. One of them is sharing your images on your own social media. And that can be done down in this sharing and client access section. You can go to this area to share via different social media sources. And when you do this, it's really cool. You know, I don't want to show my own Facebook page, but when you go to this, it will actually kind of keep in mind those keywords even when you're sharing on Facebook. It'll pull those individual images if you share directly to it in this way. So this is definitely something to check out as well. Again, just driving more and more traffic onto your site. You want to put it out there anywhere that you have a public presence, and one of those places can also be your blog. So I don't have much on my blog on my admin site here, but just so you know, you can come in here and actually link to that blog post or your gallery itself. So I'll go back into the photos section super quick and grab a link to that portfolio group, or I can do it to a specific image even. So I'll come into my portrait gallery here, and I'm going to grab my link, copy it, and go back to my blog. So then I might include the actual photo itself. Go into portfolio. I'm going to select that and insert it. So it's already nice and centered, looks really great. I might include something in here about the photo I took. I might say, I took this image last weekend and wanted to share it with you guys. So I'll make that look nice and pretty, all centered up, make it a little bit bigger. And then I might come down to the bottom and say, to see more images like this, please visit my portrait gallery. I can hover over my portrait gallery and actually make a link with the link tool. So I'm just going to link back to my gallery. I'll have it open in a new window so that it will keep them on this page and take them to that new one. And I can schedule this to go out at a later time. So if you are someone who sucks at blogging like I do, because honestly it is one of the hardest things to keep up with, on a day where I don't have much to do, I might come through and schedule several posts in a row. And when you do that, you can have them linking back to multiple galleries, maybe do like 1 or 2 posts a week, really drive traffic to several different areas of your site. But for this one, I'm just going to save and preview it so I can show you guys what it'll look like if it wants to open. It's thinking about it. Well, oh, didn't add a title. That would be why. So let's just call this Portrait from the Weekend. So now I have this on my blog, and if I scroll down I can click that link to go back to my portrait gallery. And with this, you know, I would normally have my title, all that stuff I showed you guys in here, just haven't done that in this gallery. Yeah, so the blog can be an awesome way to do that as well. Facebook sharing and just sending email links to your clients directly can help a lot, but you want to use all of these tools to get people to come back to your site, look at your galleries, really draw people's attention to your public galleries, which would namely be your portfolios. All right, so let's take a look at chat and see what's going on here. It looks like Cheryl did throw out several links, so that is perfect. Thank you so much, Cheryl. We have a ton of different resources for you available on the tutorial YouTube site. So take a look at that link and look at some others if you have some time. Robert normally does these videos and he does a fantastic job. And all of these videos will go into much more depth than I'm going into today. We're just kind of hitting the highlights. So let's see. So Sharks408 says, can I hide baby photos or school photos from the search engines so they don't show up on Google? Yes, that is totally possible. So like I mentioned before, I'm going to go back into that landscape gallery just to show you guys. I have it set up currently so that it can be found pretty easily because, you know, I want to draw people's attention to this. But if you want to do the opposite, that can be done too. So let's go into that actual gallery there. Okay, perfect. Oops. So if I'm in the gallery, I can go to Gallery Access over here on the right. And again, I'll just go to Search and Metadata. And if I choose the option to not include photos and videos in any search results, I can do that. I can set it to not be included in my recently added section, not be in any collections, nothing. Just keep it very, very bare bones to kind of hide it from the public. And like Sharks mentioned, this can be kind of a big deal when you're shooting like school photos or a newborn baby. You know, some people are kind of touchy about that and they don't want those images to be found. I personally have shot boudoir images in the past. And, you know, you definitely don't want those getting leaked out anywhere. So as soon as you create the gallery, you want to make sure this is set up before you ever even upload the photos. We just want no chance of Google ever finding those. So I'm not going to save this because I want them to be found. but that would be where you would change that. Okay, and it looks like Robert had a question for us. Can you turn off Visit Shop so it doesn't show? Yes, it is possible. Let's take a look at that too. I'm just going to go into this gallery again in the Customize view. So let me show you on the Quickshot page real quick. So what Robert's referring to is how to actually hide the Visit Shop button that appears and just use the Quickshot buying area, which is totally possible. If you come into your Quickshop in Customize Website view, let's see here. There we go. So you'll see that Visit Shop button up in the corner, and you can actually hide that, which, you know, depending on your business type, you may or may not want to do. It's kind of up to you. So with this, we can go to Options, and on the Shopping Setup tab, you can set this to only use the Quickshop only, or alternatively, you could just use the shop pages, whatever you prefer. So with this, in Robert's case, he would want to set it to only use the Quickshop pages and apply those changes. And when we do that, that Visit Shop area will go away whenever it wants to load. Goodness, it's thinking about it, isn't it? Well, now what should happen is that it will be gone. The Quickshop products will be the only thing that loads. And you can click the little plus icon over here to add that to the cart, which I'm in Customize Website view, but I'll click it and show you. It'll say it's been added to the cart, and I can go and view the cart now. And, well, that one's old. And now if I want to go back and change anything about it, I just go to Edit, and it will take me to the options for the product from the cart. So I can even switch it to the other size here if I wanted, change the crop, change the paper type, all that good stuff. But it avoids the actual shopping area itself where there are categories listed. It shows images that you may not want shown, just various things like that. So sometimes the Quickshop products can be super helpful and point you in the right direction. All right, so let's see what other questions we have here. I don't think we have any in chat, so we can take an email question. This person says, occasionally I will have a hard time logging into my Zenfolio account. It gives me the error, unexpected error has occurred, and asks that I contact support. I do this every time, but is there some sort of checklist of steps you can provide me to avoid having to contact support every single time? Yes. So just in general, there are a ton of different troubleshooting steps you can take, but the ones that I recommend are the following. First, I would make sure that you are logging in at en.zenfolio.com. If you're in the UK, it might have /UK or whatever area you're in, but you'll want to make sure you are on the Zenfolio homepage. If you are logging in on your own site, it can cause problems. I don't think I have a link in the checkout area. I might not even have one on my homepage, but let's take a look. I can show you where it's possible for clients to log in, but where you will want to avoid logging in. Let's see. I think I have it hidden. But normally down in this bottom right corner there would be a login link, and you would want to come in and log in like a client there. But while it is possible for you to log in like a site owner there, you want to avoid that. Sometimes if you have created a client account as a test, it will confuse our system and it will say, I don't know what you're trying to log into. So if you're just logging in at en.zenfolio.com, that will be the best place to log in. And aside from that, you can use a different browser. Sometimes your browser will just have a cache issues, just something simple where it may even be a browser that doesn't work with Zenfolio very well, that's not compatible with us. Like Microsoft Edge, for example, we do not support it. So switching to another browser can generally help as well. In addition, you may want to clear your browser cache. Like I mentioned, sometimes in your browser, it may just have a cache issue. In general, I can show you how to do this with Chrome. You just go to History, Show Full. And there are a couple other ways to get to this. I would click Clear All Browsing Data, and it will show some options here. And you'll want to make sure that cached images and files are selected to be removed, and cookies. Sometimes cookies can affect logging into Zenfolio. And you might just want to clear your browsing history. I recommend doing it at least back 4 weeks, but if you can, just go ahead and do it back to all time. Just go ahead and get it all knocked out so that there can be no issues. And besides that, you might want to disable add-ons. So you can see in my window here, let me pull this over. I've actually got some add-ons myself. So I have like a screenshot thing, an ad blocker, a URL shortener. Some of these will actually negatively affect the way Zenfolio runs in your logging in. It will make things run super slow. The ad blocker can actually block certain pop-ups from appearing in your Zenfolio account that can be important, freeze things up, things like that. So we definitely recommend looking at that too. And lastly, there are two things. You'll want to make sure that you're logging in with your username instead of your email, or vice versa, whichever one you don't normally use. That'll usually help in case your password is autofilling. So sometimes, you know, in Google Chrome especially, I have my password saved, so I just click on it and it goes in. But if I recently changed my password and forgot about it, you know, sometimes it'll kind of affect things negatively. But even if you have the correct password autofilling in, sometimes it can just help to type it instead in case it got saved incorrectly at one point. So those are some good steps to take too. All right, so it looks like Sharks might have another question for us here. He says, how can I set up an expiration email to be triggered before the gallery expires so I can make bank last minute? Sharks, we know you are obsessed with making bank, and we want to help you do that. So let's take a look at how to set up a triggered email. So I'm actually in a gallery I can go ahead and do this on. If I know that I want to set the gallery to expire, I would just do this over on the right. Go into expiration after I go to gallery access and set it to expire after a certain time. I think the default is 2 weeks from now. So this will essentially just make the gallery private so that only I can see it after that period of time. So it won't completely disappear from your account, but it will be hidden from visitors. And it can be a useful feature to use to encourage sales more quickly. I've even seen people charge to reopen the gallery. They'll say it costs $50 if you want to order anything after that time. So depending on how strict you are, you know, you can set some rules up, really encourage ordering quickly. But what Sharks is asking about is a reminder email to go out automatically, which can be done directly from this area when you go to the expiration set date. So when I click this, it will send a gallery expiry reminder. It's scheduled to send on whatever day. Like I set it to expire on the 14th, so by default it will do 2 days later, or before rather. So, but you might decide that you want this to go out a lot sooner than that, maybe a whole week before. So you might say, see, if it was the 14th, we want it to go out on the 7th. And you can choose a time that works as well. You know, 8 o'clock in the morning might be too early in your opinion, so you might send it at noon. But this is basically just going to schedule to send it on that date and time. You can even include a link to the mobile app experience in this area. I like to do that just to say like, hey, if you haven't had a chance to check this out on the computer, you can come here and download the app for iOS or Android and have them check out the Photo Moments app. But I might come in here and delete this and just say, hey, this is a reminder, you know, here's a coupon even, something to encourage them to order, and just add their information here. And then you can continue to the preview and set it up to be sent. And if you ever need to come back and view that again, If you wanted to change it up before it got sent out, you can go to Communications, then Email Communications, and this will load the history. And in this area at the very top, it should show you anything that's scheduled to be sent out, any drafts, things like that. So for example, with this one, it was just a draft and I didn't actually send it, so it says there is no send date. I didn't save what I just did, but normally it would still have a send date. It would just say that it was scheduled instead of actually sent. So you can always come back in here and send something out later too, or edit what you've created. You're not necessarily stuck with it. Okay, so let's see what other email questions we have. It looks like we do have several here. This person says, I'm interested in starting a newsletter, but do not have a ton of contacts on Zenfolio. How do I gain new contacts and email them as well as my existing contacts? So my recommendation would actually be to set up visitor sign-in. In case this isn't something you've heard of before, I'm happy to show you how this works. Let me go down here. So I'm just going to go to a random gallery. I'll go to that one I set the expiration for. Okay. Perfect. Now over here on the right, you're going to see a section that says visitor sign in. And when I click it, it's going to show me some options. I'm going to uncheck this so that it is not the same as the containing group, which does not have this set up. And I will choose to display a visitor sign-in page before allowing access to the gallery. So basically what this means is that before the gallery comes up, it's going to display a page first that asks for some information. And you can choose to have this information they plug in sent to you via email and automatically update your contact list in Zenfolio with this information. So whatever you do, definitely keep that checked. That will help so much in gaining new contacts. I think this is pretty cool because, you know, you might send your gallery out to the people who were actually in the photos, but they might want to share it with their friends and family online. And when their friends and family come on, you can gain their contact information as well. If they're in the same area, you could advertise a coupon for booking with you. You could, if they are not in the same area, you could just advertise a coupon for coming in and buying things. You could say 10% off downloads today. And that way they could even benefit from being on your contact list as well. So in the messaging area, you can choose exactly what's going to be shown to them. Just by default, it does say please register to view the photos. You can include a message if you'd like. And then in the sign-in field, you will choose what is going to be shown to them. So they would need, in this case, to fill out their name and email address. On my own, I do like to put it as optional for a phone number. That way you can just gather their phone number as well. I've actually reached out to a few people who did provide their phone number, because usually if they provide their phone number when it's optional, they are interested in hearing from you, like just as a general rule. And you can come up with your own question as well. So for example, you know, how did you hear about us? So I'll plug that in too. And let's go to save and preview and see how it looks. So this is the page that will show first. It will show the gallery expiration reminder on here, so that's pretty cool too. Even if they choose not to go all the way forward, they will still see that. So I might come in here and say Kayla@test.com. Kayla. I'm just going to enter my phone number, and I'll say word of mouth from John Smith. And I'll hit continue. And then after that, it should take me directly into the gallery where I can view it, and they'll see it just like anyone else. One cool thing about this is that if there is a password, it will ask for the password on that page. I've seen several websites in the past where when they have a password that they're requesting, it will actually come up like on a separate page. So it'll ask for all this information, take you to another page, you have to enter the password, could take you to even another page, but you just want to see the images. So a lot of people would get frustrated. But with this, it's all on one page. Just fill out a little bit of information, then you can see your images. So it can be super helpful in gaining some contacts. And if you're curious to find those contacts, that is going to be, again, in communications under the contact list area here. And in this area, you can send out emails to specific users. It can be literally anyone from any gallery. If I just want to send it out to everyone, I can click this little button and it will check off literally everyone. If I want to send it out to specific users, I might click show here. And this will open. I can choose maybe people who have visited my 5 images gallery and apply it. So it's going to narrow it down to just those people who ordered from that or logged in as a visitor to it as well. So, and if you want, you can just go with all contacts and apply again. If you just have one user you want to send something to, you could just check them off and click send email. You can tag them with galleries they're not already tagged in as well. So if I know I shot something for them and they haven't looked at it yet, I can tag them in another gallery too and apply that. So super, super helpful in getting your contact list built up. Again, I really like to market coupons to my customers as an enticing way to get them to come in and order. I'm not really a big fan of setting gallery expirations myself just because it seems a little too pushy for me, but a coupon is only viewed in a positive light from a customer. So it's definitely something I like to share, just a quick 10% off. And as long as you have your stuff priced accordingly, you can send out that coupon to everyone in your price list, or in your contact list rather. And it will go above and beyond in helping people order from you. All right, so looks like we don't have anything else in the chat, so let's see if we have an email question here. This person says, my client's download expired 3 days ago. How can I open that back up for her, or does she need to reorder? We do have a video available on this if Cheryl can throw that out in the chat. But in short, you would want to go to selling and then reports and payouts. So let's go there. And this is if, again, if it has expired. If you have one that you just need to view, it may still be available in the dashboard area, but this is if you've had one kind of sitting there for a while. So once we're in the reports and payouts area, we will want to go to the sales report. Let me move my big head out of the way here. Perfect. And once you're in the sales report area, you can use the search right here to actually search for an order. If you're not sure what the order number is, you can come to the orders tab and come in and open that up. And you would just click on the order number. This one hasn't even been approved yet, so this one is not a great example. But if it had been approved, there would be in the status area a place to extend it beyond the regular date. Something to note is that 30 days after the order expires, the images are deleted from our servers. Not your account, just to be clear, but at that point they would need to reorder. But you could provide them a gift certificate and make it for free if you wanted. That is an option. But orders can be extended. You may need to contact us to make that happen. It's just something you may want to note. All right. So let's check out chat again. Still nothing, you guys. We do have about 15 minutes left, so if you have any questions you want answered, definitely throw something out there. Cheryl's providing a lot of good links, so don't get distracted by those. Ask me some questions. All right. So let's take another email question. This person says, how can I change my Zenfolio username? I'm rebranding my business. So it's very easy to change your username, but it does come with a lot of stipulations, especially if you've been in business a while. So let me show you how to change it first, and we can go into some things to note too. But you'll want to go to settings and then account. And then you'll want to go to personal information. And it should be the setting at the very top. Like mine is just Kayla Admin. You can change this to whatever you want and click save. But before clicking save, there are a couple things you definitely want to know. One of which is if you change your username. This will also change your Zenfolio site's default web address. And changing the web address can break any existing links to your site that you use for your previous username. So just for example, if you have a client who, I guess you just have a group for them and you're always updating it with images anytime they book with you, and they most likely have that bookmarked on their computer so they can come back and access it a lot, that link will break potentially. So anytime you update this, you're going to want to make sure your clients are aware that you haven't removed their images, you've just rebranded a little bit and created a new username. This can also affect the results that come up in public searches on Zenfolio, as well as other internet search engines too. So if previously you were using, Kayla Admin, and all of a sudden I just wanted to use Kayla, Kayla Admin may still show up online for a little while until my site is recrawled by Google. So that can be kind of dangerous. People might come on and say, hey, that link is not working, and it can look a little sketchy. So again, just make sure you're updating your clients with this change, and I would recommend doing a site recrawl potentially, just to make sure that search engines are finding your images and your website in general. In addition, any client accounts that were created while on the old username, which it would just basically no longer function correctly, the client accounts would lose any previous saved favorites and personal information. And lastly, if you are changing your custom domain name, that will not affect your Zenfolio account. So if you had sent out links to your username.zenfolio.com address, using customdomain.com will still take them to your site, and vice versa. Your username.zenfolio.com address is your default name, and a custom domain is like a nickname, sort of. So they will still work together, so nothing to worry about there. All right, so let's take one or two more email questions. I think we still have some time. This person asks, I am interested in printing with MPix Pro since they do not do color correction and are a little bit more affordable than MPix, which is true. I'm afraid my photos won't match their printing profile though. How can I be sure my images will match what I see on my screen? So if you're familiar with color calibration and would like to soft proof your images, we do have some tools available for that. I don't think we have a video, but we definitely have a support guide article that Cheryl could link to. And for this, they have a ton of different color profiles for multiple vendors, but MPix Pro is one of the important ones since they do not do color correction. With this, you can insert that profile into your editing program and make sure that it is going to print the way it looks on your screen. So, even if you have your screen color calibrated, it might not match their printers perfectly. This is going to ensure that it is printed perfectly. So if Cheryl can send out that link, that would be amazing. You can take a look at that and, again, just import it directly into your editing program to check that out. Okay. This person has a good question as well. It says, it's about SEO, so it's a little relevant. When I do a Google search, my homepage does not appear on the front page, but it appears after several gallery links and my About page. So they're seeing it way down the list. How can I get my homepage to appear at the top so people go there first instead? So again, we've been talking about SEO all day long, but this is something that you actually will see a lot, especially if you take those recommendations that I made earlier. Sometimes your galleries and other pages will be found before your homepage. So this happens a lot when a photographer does an excellent job at adding really good keywords to their gallery, have a relevant photo title, all that stuff we talked about. But the gallery would then score higher than a basic homepage, which doesn't really have all those targeted descriptive keywords. So if you are seeing other pages above it, all that means is that the search engine is not picking up on your homepage as well and that it needs to be improved. So there are a couple things you can do. One thing I would definitely like to show you is in the website area of your settings. And once you're here, you'll want to go to the Search Engine Optimization tab. Well, I don't have anything entered here, but again, this is just my test site. One thing I could recommend is just making sure you have a really good homepage title and website description. We do have some recommendations here in general, just for SEO, but with your homepage title, you know, if I'm doing portrait photography in Raleigh, I want to make sure that the person knows my location, what I'm doing, and my business name all in that title. So I might say Kayla Caps Photography, Raleigh, North Carolina. And if I'm specifically doing portraits, I might even add portrait photography. In the website description, this is where you really want to get into it. Say all the different types of photography you're offering and your location. For me, like, I don't want to just advertise to people in Raleigh. So when I come into my website description, I might say something like serving the Raleigh, North Carolina area and beyond. Or I might just say serving the North Carolina area. That way you can be super broad. You know, if you're someone who's willing to travel, don't narrow yourself down. I might say I do portrait photography, I do landscapes, I do products, all sorts of different stuff. Might go into a little bit of detail about that here. So that can be super helpful. I can also get Cheryl to link to our SEO support article, which has some tips for improving SEO just in general with your site. And on your homepage specifically. And some of these things might include adding keywords to your homepage images, resubmitting your sitemap. So take a look at that when Cheryl posted. It has a lot of really good ideas, not just for your galleries, but also your homepage. So check that out. Okay. And then it looks like we have just one more email question, which is good because we are almost out of time. So you definitely let me know if you guys have any last minute questions. Let's see. Well, this is actually an email question we already answered. Someone's asking about the Quickshot area and saying it doesn't really work for their business, so they'd like to go back to the old photo page view. With this, the Quickshot is used for any gallery where a price list is assigned. So if you want your old photo page view, you would unfortunately have to disable the price list on it. If you have galleries where you want to sell, unfortunately it just will not work that way. But we are looking at potentially changing up some more things about our new shopping experience. So if you're someone who has some feedback about that and still want the option to use your photo page, definitely let us know. I can include our contact information over here. Oh, it's already on the screen. So if you go to zenfolio.com/contact, you can put attention Robert or Kayla in the description or the subject line, and you can send us an email just saying like, hey, you know, I saw you mentioned that the photo page is still being considered. I'd be interested in this. So let us know. And any feedback really just in general, we're a super receptive team, and we will stick up for you and pass along your request over to our engineers to see if that's something that can be done. So I am all out of questions here, unfortunately. We do have about, I think, 5 minutes left or so. So if you guys want to ask anything, feel free to do that in the chat. Otherwise, I can show you a couple things that I think are pretty cool. I do have a order pending here, so let me move my face out of the way. So I just placed a test order the other day, just so I could show you guys if we ran out of time or came close to it and didn't have any questions, what all you can do with this at the advanced account level. When you're at the pro account level or premium level, you're just not going to have as many options with editing your order. So really upgrading to the advanced level can be super beneficial if you're someone who has a ton of orders coming in. One of which is that you can actually switch out photos afterwards and add products onto the order instead of just having to send an order through and then order something for your client separately. So one thing that I actually advertise on my site is a free 8x12 with a purchase of $50 or more. So if someone spends $50, I can come in here and click Add Products. You know, I might contact them and ask them which photo they want to be the 8x12, or I might just pick it for them. But I'll come in here and select it. In this case, I just have digital downloads, but I would come into this area, select it, and add it to the order. And again, that is the Add Products button. And it's really cool because then you can kind of add on items as a gift for the customer without actually charging them. If they made an order mistake, I would probably recommend just canceling the order, which again is something only people at the advanced account level can do. If you have someone make a mistake on an order and they contact you and say, hey, whoa, don't send that through. If you're at the pro account level, you do have to write into us first, and then we have to cancel it for you, which can take a little bit of time. And sometimes if you approved it first, it will be fulfilled by the lab before we're able to cancel it. So it can kind of cause you to run into some problems. And again, if you have a ton of orders coming in, definitely recommend being at the advanced account level so that you can cancel orders if needed. And just in general, something else is that you can give a discount. So if you promise someone a discount and they forgot to use it, you can actually apply that to their order. If you completely mess it up, you can reset all the changes, no big deal. So there are a ton of different options here for you to really get into some order details when you are at the advanced account level. Even if you wanted to just try it out and upgrade, you do have 30 days to actually downgrade back with no penalty, get your money back. So I highly recommend checking this out just to see if it's something that might work better for your business. And let's see, let's go back to the dashboard here. So something else I wanted to mention, we actually had an email question come in the other day that I picked up. I had someone mention that their dashboard did not look like our videos. They said that they were only seeing this quick start area and were not seeing the colored boxes. So if you're someone who is watching this and you're like, why does mine not look the same? We are actually running some tests with different dashboards right now. If you have any feedback you want to provide about that, you can do so at that same link that I mentioned before, zenfolio.com/contact. Literally any feedback you want to provide, please send it. Again, we are super receptive to anything you have to tell us. But if you just see the quick start menu and you don't like it, tell us. And if you think this is a super helpful menu that you're not seeing alternatively and would like to, you can let us know that as well. But most people, we're just testing, will see both of these, but you might be in one of those test groups where it's just one or the other right now. So just something to mention while we're on the dashboard. All right, guys, we have about 2 minutes left. Trying to think of anything else I can show you guys. Well, let's see. Actually, Cheryl just said something. Let's take a look. She says, I love that with the advanced plan, I can add an item as a gift for me, my best clients. I give out calendars this time of year to say Happy New Year. That is a really good point, Cheryl. Honestly, like reaching out to your clients at the end of the year just to say thank you for being a part of my business and helping my business grow is so nice to do. Personally, I like to order gift card or send out gift cards to people who have booked more than one shoot. I'll send out cards as well. Just a little like tiny thing just to send out and say thank you so much. It really means a lot to people around this time of year that you're thinking about them while you have your own people to shop for, you know. So I would definitely recommend reaching out to people. And again, with building your own contact list, you can do that directly from your account. Just go into your contact list, select anyone, and just say, if you were supporting my business this year, thank you so much. I think it's really nice to do, and it's not something a lot of people expect, I think. So when they check their inbox, they might be happy just to see an email from you, and we'll probably thank you for allowing them to be a part of your business. But that is about it, guys. I just want to say thanks again for tuning in. If you have any questions for me or Robert Robert will be back in the office hopefully very soon, and we wish him the best of luck in getting well again. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day and a happy holiday if I don't see you guys again. Take care.